want to focus our conversation. So I'm pleased that you had the kind of intimate one-on-one experience with now President Obama, and bring that perspective that many other people do not have. They only see him on television, read about him in a newspaper, don't have that immediate or intimate kind of contact that you had with him. What do you think, just to close this line of questions, what do you think about President Obama's now proposal to expand or nationalize health care to provide for government ownership of General Motors or Chrysler, to provide even greater input, in fact ownership by unions who have given him over $200 million for his campaign? What do you believe about those issues as an African American from the city of Chicago here who is a Republican? What is your opinion?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that question, because I also sit on the board of the Healthcare Consortium of Illinois, so I've been in healthcare for a while. One of the issues that we've been pushing was healthcare and education. Let me put it this way. I have talked to the former governor, Governor Agar. I have George Ryan and others, and everybody has had this headache on what to do with health care. Universal health care will not solve the problem, simply because if you bring millions of people into the health care system, we don't have the doctors and nurses to care for them. Then the other problem is that how do you pay for this, as everybody say, and they still haven't figured that out. It would be, they would have to go into a prevention mode, and you don't have to, prevention education mode, and you don't have to change the whole system.
So as a conservative, what is your opinion about the proposal that's being now bandied about, the Nancy Pelosi plan, if you will, for nationalizing health care, making a one-payer, single-payer system, you know, well, the government controls it?
If they do, I think the Republicans will win the House and the Senate by a majority, a super majority, once it go into...
So you think it will be a disaster?
Oh, it will be. And the Democrats, what they call it, the blue...
The blue dog Democrats.
The blue dog Democrats, they see it. It's a headache.
These are Democrats from the southern states who were elected during the Obama 08 cycle, and whose election was very precarious by a very small percentage. So there's a very good chance that they may get defeated if they go down this road with the president and Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid.
That's right.
Let me switch gears here for a moment and go into the lack of a functioning two-party system here, which is largely due in part to the monolithic vote of the African-American community, which is some 1.3 million strong here in Cook County. But before we go into those questions, again, I want to throw out our website, Peraica.com. Please go and take a look at our website, or call us at 773-735-1700. Through our website, Peraica.com, you can access our Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. You can go and check some of the YouTube or Blip TV shows from a previous time. And today is July 21st. We're taping on July 21st. This will air probably 2 weeks hence. And we voted to repeal the sales tax by half a percentage point today.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I'm here taping this show right after it. But you know, I ran twice for, once for president of the county board in 2006 and once for county state's attorney in 2008. And in each case, I was absolutely, despite all of my efforts, I had 3 offices in the African-American community. I was out there at every church, every community gathering, every library. I was out there more than I should have been probably as a Republican. And I just could not connect with the electorate enough to break that 10% margin of support in the African-American community. Why is it that we don't have a functioning one-party system? Why is the African-American community so monolithic and one-sided in their blind support of the Democratic Party, even though they get nothing in return? Why?
Well, let's go back. Again, I say after 1965, what happened was the Democratic Party and the Union went in and got with the African-American so-called leaders that came out of the civil rights movement, and they told them and put together a PR campaign in the African-American community to degenerate the Republican Party, and they particularly kept them away from learning the history of African-Americans within the Republican Party. If you go and, so they got African-Americans to go into voters registration and voters participation and not voters education. If you go and look at Kennedy, you think,
so
well,
they didn't want them to know what was happening generally. Just come out and vote for all of our Democrats up and down the list.
Now, what the Republicans have never done, and it's a dilemma because the Republicans won't give the money to go in and not to give to the African American community, but put on a public relations campaign or PR campaign by which to tell the truth between the blacks, the African Americans, and the Republican Party. Let me give you an example. If you go and look at Kennedy was, if you ask, well, whose seat did Kennedy take? Kennedy took Edwin Brooks' seat in Massachusetts. Well, people don't know that. You ask African Americans, well, how did we get in corporate America? Nixon done that. You ask African American, well, who opened up the doors to segregation? Eisenhower. We could go, the Civil Rights Bill of the 60s was actually became law through the Republican voting on that, not the Democrat.
Everett Dirksen, the senator from Illinois, was the one who brought the Republicans en masse to support the now President Johnson Civil Rights Bill, but he couldn't have passed it without the Republican support.
Now, Republicans keep going after trying to give money to the preachers, to the community organizers to get black to hear it. No, they don't need to give money there. They need to give money to ads. They need to put ads up in the billboards. Know your history. They need to put ads on radio. Let me tell you the truth about the Republican Party.
Well, we're going to be starting a radio show, and I would love to have you on to discuss this in some more detail.
Yes.
Beginning on September 6th, right after Labor Day, on 560 AM, WIND radio, we're going to begin a 1-hour show, and we're going to discuss issues exactly like the ones we're talking about here. So everyone needs to tune in beginning on September 6th, Sunday, from 9 to 10 p.m. on 560 AM, WIND, where we will have a show that's going to sizzle through the speakers on everyone's
and that's what
radio.
We need, Commissioner. We really do need that, and the people are dying for that. Even if they taught American history in the African-American school, it's going to be taught from a one-sided view.
Now, you know, as I look at the educational system in the city of Chicago, Chicago public school system, it's a total failure. By any objective measure, it's a total failure. And now the superintendent of schools has been elevated to you know, the Secretary of Education level, Arnie Duncan I'm talking about, and you're going to have the same kind of failure across the entire country. Why is it a failure? In the city of Chicago, the Chicago public school system has an annual budget of $6 billion to educate 150,000 kids. 50,000 employees work for the city public schools. $6 billion budget. The capital project budget is another $2.5 billion. We're talking $8.5 billion, which is about $20,000 per student.
That's right.
Where is the money, I ask myself, and why are they producing a generation after generation of folks who can't read after 12 years graduating high school, supposedly graduating high school, they can't read at the 4th grade level, and 50% of all students that enter Chicago public school system drop out without graduating at all. About 5% or less end up going to college. This is an abject failure that does not teach civics, politics, government, or anything else.
You know, want me to tell you how that happened?
How?
It happened because when they desegregated the schools, instead of African-American leadership asking for scientific laboratories in every school, we opted out for busing. We felt that if we bus our children over to white schools and our children would sit next to white children, then education would rub off on them. When in fact, if
by osmosis, huh?
Exactly. But if it
didn't happen, did it?
It didn't happen. Then the second.
Do you suppose school vouchers where
of course
parents
I do.
can take
of
their
course
kids
I
anywhere?
do. But this whole thing of charter schools and all of it, none of it's going to work. But not in the African American community, because you got to do a total overhaul. The teachers that's teaching in the African American school